It's boring. I was a virgin until 21. Like they used to pressure me into having sex. I wasn't ready for sex. Like sex scared me.
What was the most disliking thing about escorting?
For me, it was the sex itself. I work in an industry
Oh my God.
where drugs is on the table. If you want coke, it's going to be in one of those long bookings. I would make them stand at the front of the class and strip naked. When you shoot porn, you look at porn differently. We were talking, like she said that my sister, I told her about, look, she's doing porn and the camera went right up her vagina and my mum goes, yeah, she's got a nice vagina, what's your problem? I am not cut out to be homeless. And that's when I really considered suicide. I thought, this is it. I thought I was going to die.
Hello, all of you risk takers and truth seekers to podcast live the battlefield. Today, I have a truly tremendous opportunity to talk to the woman who will change your life and the world from inside out. And that is only because my guest in studio today, she traveled from light to dark, back to light. And her story is nothing short than to be inspiration to you. I'd like to welcome Tessa Williams. Welcome to the studio live the battlefield there.
Thanks for inviting me.
You're welcome. Look, unpacking this interview is something I will need help of yours. And I saw your interview with a few podcasters so far. And honestly, I will never dare to approach you. First of all, I want to say you are the woman who has more courage and balls than the most men I know. Honestly, that's the first one. So look, I like to start with you about your childhood. I want to introduce yourself because this is going to be a long interview. Like I can sense it. So Tessa, I will compare your life with Mary Magdalene, right? And I want to read something before we we can start talking. So this is I asked the Holy Grail of the knowledge, Dr. Google. It says, commonly depicted with long wavy hair, an alabaster jar of ointment in her hand, Saint Mary Magdalene is often mentioned in the same breath as that ugly word sin. But in world that tries to define her by her past, Mary Magdalene has much to offer when it comes to learning what true surrender into the arms of our Savior really looks like. And you surrender yourself. So Tessa, Mike, it's yours. From bottom of your heart, who is Tessa Williams?
Who am I? I'm a child of God now.
Okay. So what does it mean when you say child of God?
For a long time, I was lost. I was on my own path. I looked for fulfillment in just worldly things like making money, just trying to survive. And I just realized what I needed to survive was our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Like I was seeing therapists. I was on a lot of different antidepressants and tranquilizers and everything. I was making good money and I was doing a job where I got to rest most of the week. I thought that was life, and I was so miserable. I was incredibly miserable.
In the world we're living, like many people say they're miserable, they're unhappy, and then always complaining about your life. But I never seen you complaining about your life. Your first opening statement is, I'm the child of God, right? And I think myself not many people will say this. I have a good friend of mine, her name is Marina. She's a script teacher. She's back my home in Croatia. And we always fight, her faith into the God and how I believe in God only when I need it, right? So your childhood is not started in Australia, right?
I was born in South Africa but raised in Perth, Western Australia.
Okay. What prompted you to go from South Africa?
Oh, my parents.
Yeah?
I didn't really have any say. I was 3 years old at the time.
Okay, so you need to go. You come with us, that's it, boom.
Yeah.
And how was it growing up in the Perth for you? Because it's I will draw some parallels I heard in other interviews, but I'm interested now into why the church. You started your life with the church.
Yeah.
But then you break up from the church and now back to the arms of the God. Please.
Yeah, I was brought up in the church, the Brethren Church, and it was very judgmental. It was nothing like the church that I'm going to now. It was nothing like Hillsong Church, where you leave feeling fulfilled and happy and, had my church fix for the week.
Yes.
I went feeling could I be any worse? And then constantly being told by by the parents, other people's parents and the elders, that I was a bad child because I'm not paying attention. I'm a bad child for not staying awake. I was a little kid. That's boring. So I fell asleep. I wanted to play with my friends. I wanted to play with my Barbies in church. And being like a small child, those words got taken to heart. And it does. It went further to when I was in my teens. And then it just didn't end there. And then I was constantly being told, well, your grades are so bad, that I was disappointing God and being compared to other kids. And then that's when I just thought, okay, in my teens, rebellious teens, I said, okay, if I'm not good enough for you, I'll go be with the sinners. You're already telling me I'm a sinner. I'm going to go be with them. And looking back, I was a normal child. I wasn't a demonic child like they were saying.
Demonic child.
Demonic because I didn't like church and I was crying and I didn't want to go. It's boring. I would stay and watch Disney on Sunday night. And
You know, the funny thing it is, we never met before, right?
Yeah.
For the record, we never met before in our entire life. But one thing, it's always a common trait. You were the normal child. I wasn't normal. But one thing I experienced in my childhood, my parents, who were typical communist product, but alcoholics, and my mom, she was a kleptoman. I was always being called the names and by society. And then one funny thing you said like, if I'm the sinner, I'm going to associate myself with the sinners, right?
Yeah.
Same with me, but I finished in juvenile. You didn't finish in juvenile, right?
Sorry?
You didn't end up in a prison on juvenile?
No, never in trouble with the police either.
Yeah.
And I go through many, many police checks because I'm going to be working in healthcare. Every single time.
Yeah.
You got to go get that police check. And there's nothing in my past at all.
How was this judgmental society? What marks left on you as a kid, which you can replicate to many parents now raising their kids? How this affected you as a child, being, judged and told that you're not worthy, to the parents who are raising kids now?
It's just feeling not good enough. And just after a while, because I was just taking just so much of being told that I was bad and I was stupid, I took it to heart and believed I was stupid. I believed I had a learning disorder. My grades suffered as a result. And then I just believed I had a learning problem with learning. And then now I finished my HSC equivalency and my going to study nursing. I realized that's not the case.
Yeah.
This is stuff I carried from childhood. And only when I went back to study again, realized, hang on, this is not true. I was made to feel stupid and inadequate and just not good enough.
You remember I told you at the beginning, you have more balls than the most of men I know. Honestly, I'll tell you this a little bit later, what you know about me. But the thing is, it's not, I have my mentor, his name is Professor Clive Smallman. And when he took me under his arms, he told me not what we are by the nature, but by nurture. So you've been nurtured in a wrong way. So thank you for sharing this with us. So how this affected you going further with your life into the arms of true sin? What was the transition between the school and then little Tessa becomes the naughty Tessa?
Because I was at school, I was bullied a lot. First of all, for my skin colour, because Perth, Western Australia then, very rare you would see multiculturalism.
Yeah.
You were either white, Aboriginal or Italian in our area. So then I was the only dark child or remotely dark African. And I wasn't that dark. It's like darker people now, but according to them, I was the darkest person they've ever seen. And I was called every derogatory word under the sun. And then in high school, like I never had a boyfriend, I never been kissed, and I was called a slut. Even though I never had any.
You know what I understand? Like, I'm seeing you today, like you're the form woman, right? You know what I mean? But I think that my life was a suck, but you not being kissed and you being called slut. Eh?
Yeah, I was a virgin until 21.
Okay.
And I was being called a slut. And even though they had no proof of anything or didn't even know what.
Yeah.
I had a boring life. I didn't really have a social life in high school. I had a small group of friends. But they seemed to have, and now I realize it was just an insult. It was to make me feel bad. It wasn't really about anything that I was doing.
I don't even know if, till today, I read it quite a lot about you to the magazines and articles. I saw every single podcast I could see about, interviewing, you've been interviewing other podcasters. And I still can't understand in what shitty world we're living with society judge us either by the color skin or the language or whatever it is. But in reality, I know if they need help, they will come to you and you will help these people. Can I ask you something? If you go back now in Perth and see these people remotely, what do you think? What would you see now in them? Happy people okay,
no,
please.
we had our high school reunion. I went to the 10-year one, and a few of them apologized to me.
Really?
Yeah, some of them were parents now, and they have kids that are being teased at school, and they're saying, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Now I know what you went through." So it was kind of a healing experience for me, and I also got to I've got happy just from that was my healing, and I've kept in contact with some of them as well over the years.
So after all, people who have bullied you, some of them apologize.
Yes. I got written, my biggest bully wrote me this letter saying that, I'm so sorry what I said to you. I'm a different person now with a different heart. I've got a son that has autism. And he gets teased, he gets bullied regularly. So.
Guys, I want you to take a note from this. Time will tell. I think the time is our biggest ally or biggest enemy. In your case, you survived divorce, and now time is actually showing that they were wrong. And I'm thankful that life is somehow give some relief to you that, some people say, I'm sorry. So obviously you were having boyfriend and then what's happened then?
I had a boyfriend when I was in the last year of school. And I think I had a boyfriend because I felt the pressure to have a boyfriend. Everyone else had boyfriends. They had their first kiss.
Tessa must have the one as well.
Yeah, I needed one as well. It was,
I
dated a very toxic guy. And that was my introduction to very toxic man.
Very toxic man,
Yeah.
Are you think that we choose the people in our life because subconsciously we wanted this, or it's because...
I just went to the first one that paid me any attention.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't necessarily attracted to him. I just felt, okay, I need a boyfriend because everyone's making fun of me because now I'm being made fun of. I never had a boyfriend, saying that no one had ever dated me.
But you were never happy in that relationship, right?
No, and it ended because I didn't want to have sex with him. So he ended up in between classes breaking up with me.
Over the recess, my lunch, your lunch, goodbye.
Yes,
we can laugh now. I know it sounds like cruel, but look, I know what that means because I was always chasing these girls. I always wanted to be these A-grade students as well, and I was always being told by the many parents, how they say to their daughters, I don't want to see you close to the Mario, as if I was, leprechaun, but whatever it is, the thing is that life brings us that experiences. Without going into depth of your boyfriend, because I understood that your boyfriend is actually catalyst of you going into the even deeper, darker world of pleasures and sex. Can you just share with us, for audience or Life the Battlefield, if I understood correctly, your boyfriend took you to the strip club?
Oh, it wasn't that boyfriend. It was a few boyfriends after that. But they all had one thing in common.
Which is?
They used to pressure me into having sex. I wasn't ready for sex. Sex scared me. And I didn't know how sex was performed until I was 14 and reading an art book and went, hang on, it goes inside your body. I thought it just goes in between. Remember just going, whoa.
Look, I we can joke now. But you're absolutely right. I'll tell you something, my experience, I want you guys to remember this. And I remember I was with my friend. He says to me, his girlfriend has a girlfriend. She's interested in me. So, he goes in one room and I go to another room. And then she says to me, come on, let's go do it. And I said no, can you just sit on me? She says to me, who is going to have the sex with who? Because I didn't know. So I ran away. I was so embarrassed. Anyway, so I understand what you're saying. So those boyfriends, they're actually pressurizing you to have the sex.
Yeah. And it just got, and then the one who took me to a strip club the first time was the first time I ever been in a domestic violence situation. In one of that, because I refused to have sex with him, his way to retaliate was to get physical with me. And then he said that I made him, because I made him so frustrated that that's how he could only take it out on me. And that was a relationship also I was very scared to leave. I needed my mum to come over and help me.
I'm so sorry to happen this to you. I mean, as I say, I don't value the men who are doing this to weaken themselves And one thing I always repeat in my podcast, for those who don't know, majority of people know, I went in a war when I was age 18, and the so-called alpha males, they were the first one who hold mommy's hands and the aunties and the girlfriends and wives and they run away. I left average Joe to fight the war. Like my parents dumped me as well. I was 18 years old. And I'm sorry that you're going through this, to some guy who, I mean, it's easy to hit a woman. So I'm sorry for that happened to you. So tell us about strip club.
Okay, he loved to make me jealous, so he decided to take me to a strip club. Okay. And it was a strip club in Northbridge, and strip clubs were kind of new in that area. There was before that, there was hidden here and there, but this was one of the first big ones, and I refused to go in because...
sorry, that's a Perth or in Sydney?
Perth,
okay.
In Northbridge, yeah. And I was scared to go in because I thought it was going to be junkies on stage and drugged up like it is in the movies and really scary environment.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, it was beautiful Baywatch girls on stage in these beautiful sparkly outfits. And I'm like, hang on, where am I now? And these girls were so beautiful. I was in the modeling industry, but I've never seen girls like this. I only saw them in Baywatch and I've seen them in men's magazines, but I've never seen them in the fashion industry like this. I'm like, where in Perth were these women hiding? Because they would stand out.
So why the women actually look so attractive in that industry? Can you share with us? Because it's maybe makeup, it's competition. Because I heard my independent research, it is that it's a cutthroating industry. I have somebody on my podcast a few months ago in Melbourne, and a lady, she explained that she was on a stage and that's a lot of bitching between the girls, literally it's bad between the girls environment. But what prompted these girls to be so beautiful? This is because...
I think you're kind of encouraged to look the best you're ever going to look.
Okay.
You kind of do pick up makeup tips here and there, but you know after a while what look works for you and what doesn't. And you kind of strive to... I think anyone can do it, anyone. If they go work out and get the Botox and the hair and everything, they can look amazing. But it's true, some of the most beautiful women I've ever seen are in that industry.
So it was that a moment of the truth for you? So I want to do this job?
Yeah, because these were the girls that I wanted to be like, but not the job specifically. It's more how they looked and how their confidence was everything. I've rarely saw women this confident and outgoing and just incredible.
When you talk about confidence in the strip industry, that's how would you call it, strip, right? How do you learn to be confident? Because you're the
develop
woman.
It over time. It also becomes a defense mechanism because you could get the occasional idiot that goes, "Oh, you're fat," and then you've got to kind of turn around yeah, as in PHAT, hell yeah.
You're good. You're good. I wasn't expecting that from you, right? So when did you start working? Obviously that's the moment when you break up with your boyfriend.
Yes. And I moved to Sydney, and then I went to my first place to go work. Before that, I made friends with strippers. I would go to strip clubs. I'd kind of get to know the girls and just not really having the guts. And one of them recommended I work at Twin Peaks, which I was like, no, I don't want to waitress, I want to dance. But she's like, oh, no, it's where the money is. But it wasn't about the money for me. It was about going on stage like those girls, dancing, which was a lot more fun than Twin Peaks.
Okay.
And that place was toxic as hell. That was my first introduction to that place. Didn't have the sisterhood that I expected. That stripper that I met the first time, she kind of, by telling me that I was good enough, the first stripper that I ever met, made me feel like I was wanted, worthy, finally. But when I went to work the first time in a establishment, these girls were so rude. These girls were horrible.
Why? Because you're jealous on your look or jealous on your behavior? You're going to take their clients away? Or
it just goes without saying that a new girl will always get the clients, no matter what she looks like. She's new. So they kind of made me feel this small on the first day. I had to turn around and ask the owner, is she a manager? No, she's a worker here. Well, she's acting like a manager, telling me what to do and don't sit down and you do this and stand up. And then after a while, you kind of had to learn to be rude back to them.
What was your mental health at that stage?
That's when I started doing the antidepressants.
Antidepressants?
Where I thought, hang on, if I'm not, this is when I was at that establishment, and I'm thinking, okay, if I'm not having fun like the other girls, there must be something wrong with me. And that's when I started. Just for a little bit, I was briefly on the antidepressants when I was there. And then I decided to actually try a strip club and realize, hang on, this is actually more fun. This is what I want to do.
Okay, so it's more fun to do stripping, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Question out of the blue.
Yeah.
Unplanned. Can women make the money in stripping?
Yes and no. You will have good days and you'll have bad days. I realized over time a lot of girls that were making the big bucks, they either had a name, they already had a title, they were known in magazines, or they were dealing, or they were doing extras. So if you're just going to go to a strip club and do a dry dance, you're not going to make any money.
You're not making any money. Okay, on that topic, I want to just before I lose that feeling. If any woman wants to go into stripping industry, right? What would your answer would be?
No, don't do it. It's going to be fun. Like I call the whole industry overall like a drug. It's going to be great in the beginning.
Yeah, it is.
You're going to have some great highs, amazing highs, but then after a while, the bad times are going to outdo those good times.
So how did it lead you from the stripping, right? Because I said, like, when I was watching other interviews, when I was reading about you, I said to myself, I was sitting in my other office because I have the other businesses down the road anyway, and I said to myself, I need to prepare myself for this interview better than anything else because it's nothing short than excitement. It's like a movie, your life. You know what I mean? Like going from ordinary girl in Perth, being bullied, being harassed, domestic violence, morals of the boyfriends. And I say, I'm sorry for any man who ever done something wrong to you because I never can understand this man, this type of man. Then you go in the stripping industry. But looks like that you realize that you need to do something more spicy in your life.
I was dancing for a while and the novelty kind of wears off and the money really over time, especially when the whole worldwide stock market crash happened. That's when the money in the club started taking a nosedive, and then and then it kind of introduced a whole new variety of girls into the club that were not dancers; they were just there to do everything for $50.
Everything for $50.
So you had to compete with these girls. That they don't necessarily. Before the girls were all glamorous, they were gorgeous, and then suddenly this new wave. We used to call them new wave hookers came in. And these girls just made everything cheap. The guys, if you're going to, what are you going to choose? The girl that's just going to dance or the girl who's going to do a bit more? So
for the same money, right?
Yeah.
When I was growing up, you'll agree with me. I know I'm older than you. I'm 52 now. But I remember when I was growing up, Samantha Fox was like, oh my God, who has a the poster of her, Sabrina, like, the natural breast, the Sophia Loren. I remember that was the type of the excitement as a teenager had. But something changed. Something terrible changed. And we, as you say, now you can buy the breast, you can buy the hair, you can look thinner, so I need to do liposuction. But the thing is, things have changed. And how did you start competing with this? First of all, let me step back. You left the Perth, come in Sydney. You left parents obviously behind, right?
Yeah, I was with my parents there for a while. And my dad, when my mum and dad split up, my dad went to Melbourne, my sister went to Melbourne. Mum went to Sydney, and then I
it's okay, yeah.
I joined Mum after.
Yeah. So what was the relationship with your mum? Did Mum, she knew it that...
I told her that I wanted a strip, and we had a big argument. And that was the time that I met the man that was going to be my husband.
Okay.
And Mum even said to him, how could you let your wife do this? And he goes, oh, it's a job. It's a job. Now I realize it was a red flag.
It was a red flag,
Yeah.
Look, today interview was like, I know whoever watching this right now, I want you to educate people, Tessa. I really want you to educate everybody who thinks that life on other side, grass is greener, which is not. So you are a stripper, then you say you find a husband.
I was married for the majority. Actually, I'm legally still married, but I'm hoping to get a divorce very, very
you're
soon.
hoping. If that doesn't matter, but it doesn't divorce.
No, I don't want anything to do with him at
Yeah.
all anymore. But I was married the whole time that I was there. Not necessarily happily married, but for 10 years that I was in the industry, I was married. I had a husband.
Same man?
Yes.
And he just, if I can ask you, he was okay that you do this, and he say like, Tessa, no, you don't need to do this. Let's
No,
go.
when I turned around and said, okay, I want to stop doing this now and I want to start a family, then he turned. How are you going to make money? You'll be nothing if you don't have this, and destroyed my ID and everything. So I had to go back. I couldn't get a normal job. And then I realized that he needed the money that I was making.
You know, I never understood the people who can live on somebody else's money.
Oh, he had a job as well, but he was one of those 50-50 everything type people.
Look, I still understand. I'm born in Croatia, like, you know, back my home, man takes care of a woman, and there's a situation where the woman, you know, needs to help, obviously. But there's no 50-50 where I'll grow up. So I can't understand. Apologies for that one. How did you deal with you? How did you juggle your professional life as a stripper with being married to the person? How did you feel? How was Tessa Williams felt?
In the club, it's a different persona altogether. It's a character. When I'm home, I'm Tessa. That's how I kind of deal with it. And I leave my problems with that character in the club. Like Contessa, that's her problems. Tessa, that's not her. I'm a different person when I'm home. I'm not cleaning the house in lingerie and high heels.
Okay. Now it tickled the imagination. I mean, like, okay, like, guys, I forgot to say this at the beginning of the interview. And we're going to put this disclaimer at the beginning. It's going to be quite descriptive. It's going to be, double R rated, you know what I mean, guys? So, like, you know, for those who don't want to listen to one point of the time in this interview, feel free to disconnect yourself and find the part of this interview you want to listen, because it's going to be maybe some extreme situations and some scenes. May I ask you, because after all, you're the woman, right? You're the woman. Now, explain to me as a 5 years old, you're dancing for the man, that's a Contessa, that's a one, that's a, let's just say, play role. You come home, you're Tessa.
Yeah.
How do you switch emotions? I mean, it takes a lot of confidence, a lot of self-love to say, I left Contessa in a club, but at home, I'm the wife. You know, no makeup, you say, no high heels, whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How did you manage to do this?
Just switch off. Just know that that's a character, and it's a fantasy world.
It's a fantasy.
Playing my backstory that I would even tell clients there was not me at all. That's what we all do for our own safety. We don't use our names. We don't use our real backstory, because you're kind of asking for trouble if you kind of tell the guy, oh, I'm going to school here, or I live here, and this is my real name. You get a stalker.
You know, look, today it's much more easier to be stalker, I mean, like, because it's online. So your husband was 50-50, everything you know, he was obviously controlling some type of your lifestyle you had together. But then you switched it from the stripping to the porn. Is that correct?
Yeah, it got to the point where he started cheating. It was the week before we meant to go into the clinic.
May I ask you to your clinic, can you just explain this?
Sorry?
Can you explain this? He cheated on you.
Yeah, we were meant to go to the clinic because we were going to start a family. I had to drag him to this appointment. Okay. And I was really excited for it. And they said that we're going to start the testing for us and fertility drugs and that, because I wasn't falling pregnant. Yeah. And so then I realized that he didn't want to go. I felt like I was dragging him there. And one day I come home and I find a glass in the sink with lipstick on it, which is not mine. And that's, when I realized he was cheating. And looking back, I think he did that on purpose. Like, what idiot does that? I think he wanted to be caught because he really did not want a family. And then having his friend tell me, I think he's had a vasectomy. And they would have found that out at the clinic when they kind of did the testing on him.
Imagine that feeling, you know. All my viewers already know, everybody knows I have a son, and I can't have a kid's natural way because, you know, I was being wounded in war, and, you know, I need to do IVF. So I got my son through IVF. But I was always upfront with everybody. I was, you know, considering dating, you know, something leads into something more. I would say, look, I think we are not compatible. And they would say, what do you mean? It's like, you want family. I don't want to be the point of your disappointment because I can't have a kids. But you will live with a man who didn't told you that he done.
His entire life was a mystery to me. Like, I even asked his friends as well. And his friends even said he's a big mystery. He's only his best friend from Finland, that's where he was from, knew a bit of information.
He's from Finland.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about this later, off the record, off the camera. Look, one thing I know that you can't hide everything in life. I'm sorry again. I didn't know that your life is just going, that direction. So what was happening after you find out he's cheating on you? How did you react? How Tessa reacted?
Oh my goodness, I went off. I'm South African. I don't hold back. I was nuts. I was crazy. And then I told him to give me the name of the girl. And then he gave me the name of a girl I know that he knows from the pub.
Yeah.
He said, oh, she just came over for some drinks and stuff. And I said, is it that girl? Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold her down and shave her head. And if it's the wrong girl, an innocent girl's going to get hurt. I was not going to do that, of course. But then, of course, he had to admit, because an innocent girl was going to be bald. And so he told me, he gave me the number of the girl. I called the girl as well. The girl was clueless. And I said, you have to be some kind of idiot to see that a woman doesn't live there.
Yeah.
And there's pink furniture for the cats and everything. Like, what man, unless he's gay, is going to have that?
Oh, my God.
She didn't know. She said she didn't sleep with him. She said that she had a gut feeling something was wrong and she bolted out of there.
Oh, okay. So women, you see, the women have that sixth sense, I mean, the men always go with I don't want to name the part of the body part, but the woman has a sixth sense. They're using the brain. The men use something else.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. Was that the point when your life was going to distance yourself from him as a husband?
I gave him like a second chance. And now I realize you don't do that in that situation because it got worse. After that, it's like I saw his true colors come out, and I think the cheating and the drinking got worse and everything.
Okay. Can I just ask you now for the generally public, speaking and question you, because your life is for all of us happened. Now, if the woman wants to give second chance to the man, what would Tessa say?
No one should give a second chance for cheating at all. It just shows it's okay the next time they do it. It's going to be worse.
Take the point, guys, from this. Tessa says this, and her experience is experience most of you guys maybe have in your life. And there's a simple answer. Don't, because you're proving for the next time. Am I correct?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It shows that your boundaries can be pushed. The respect just went down, everything. I thought that he'd be grateful because he was crying, saying, oh, no, please, don't leave me, type thing. And then I said I'll give him a second chance, and I realized the whole marriage had changed. Yeah. His attitude, he started becoming very open about his drinking, and drinking even more. Around that, yeah. We had a rule, no alcohol in the house, because I'm allergic to alcohol as well. But I realized that he just didn't care. And when I had spoken to the girl, and I realized I would have walked into them having sex, so this would have been planned. And the girl said that he approached her. It wasn't the other way around. She was going for a smoke outside, and he approached her.
Man, you have the woman who every man, I apologize, I'll take this back. All the men in the club will like to spend more time with you, to know you. Then you come home and he is cheating on you. Like, for me, that doesn't make a sense.
Yeah. I felt that he just wanted to get out of that clinic appointment any way possible.
Yeah. Did he admit that he had done?
No, he never admit to anything. I dragged him there anyway that week. We didn't go for any testing, but they kind of spoke to us.
I think that's nothing worse than playing with women emotions when it comes to the, to be the mother, right? I think that's the worst thing it is, because I know what every woman feels when they have a kid. I've seen every day, and I have somebody in my work, in my head office there, lady, she's expecting kid in December. We all happy for her, right? So I know what she's going through, emotions, and what is lacking in you. So how this actually put Tessa, because I can see that you were building the character with every situation, and then you stepped into the porn, right?
Yeah, I realized our marriage was going worse. He was not interested in having a kid. He tried to make it my fault when I said, listen,
Of course, it's your fault, Tessa, of course.
Yeah. Because yeah. And I just said, listen, I understand you don't want kids. We're just going to have to leave it at that because I'd be raising a baby on my own and bringing it into a very toxic environment. I can't do that to a kid. And then his behavior just went out of control. He was drinking so much that his skin stank. And I'm not even sure anymore if it was just drinking because I used to come home and he was slumped over like an addict and then saying, oh, no, I had a 10-hour shift. I've worked longer than 10 hours and I not passed out like that. So he, after a while, it was just the cruelty had taken over. And then I just told him, even though I don't have ID, let's separate. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's just driving me nuts. He was like, no, not going anywhere. And that's when my plan, like I started escorting.
Yeah.
I wasn't making any money in the clubs anymore. It was impossible to make money in the clubs. So I even told him that I'm going to start escorting. He didn't care. So
I mean, I tried to, sorry to interrupt you again. Like I have another question in the back of my mind, which is relating to the, child of God. So like I want to ask this question, but I don't understand that man doesn't fight for you. This is what I'm understanding. I mean, like when you say, I want to do escorting, I mean, I know what the escorting it is, but that is directly like my wife goes with another man. I mean.
I don't think he believed me, first of all. Or either didn't believe me or he just did not like me after a while as a person because I even turned around and said to him one day, I hate you as well. I don't like you. I don't love you. I don't even like you as a person. Because I realized even my worst enemy doesn't treat me like that at the club.
Yeah.
Like this guy really seriously did not like me at all. He would do stuff on purposely to hurt me. Like I had a cat and this he cooked this horrible, he was a chef. He cooked this food that was so spicy. It was like pepper spray in the air that my cat was howling in pain. I was in pain. I was screaming at him to stop, to open the windows. And that poor cat, I had to get a rag on her eyes. And then afterwards he said, oh, that curry was so nice. I might make it again sometime. I think you're absolutely
Can I say such an asshole? I mean, you should tell me not to say this, but, it's like it's easy to hurt people who can't retaliate, they can't give back, because you're the girl and, he's a man. So for me, it doesn't make a sense. I always wondered why the people are acting like this, because I believe on a workplace, he was not like this because someone's going to tell him something. Amongst the other guys, obviously, he'll not live that life. So I think that most of these people carrying something deep hurt inside themselves, they try to pass on other people because that way they try to mitigate their pain. I mean, again, I'm sorry for your cat. It just doesn't make a sense. So, escorting.
Yeah, I because I needed the money. I needed to start planning to leave this guy.
Oh, okay,
I
so
needed
you
to
had
somehow
a plan,
support myself. And I couldn't get a job. I had no ID. So you can't do anything. Now I got my ID and I realized how much I needed.
When you talk about ID, what do you mean about ID?
Just a small little ID to show who I am. Because I was born over in South Africa. Like it was when my stuff got destroyed and lost and whatever he did to it. I had nothing. I had an expired passport and I couldn't even use that. And you can't move into a new house. You can't get social security.
Yeah, you need it,
You can't study. You can't even get a job because you need that ID. And if you don't have that in this country, it's not the lucky country anymore.
I mean, I just try to figure out what's the wrong with these people. I mean, to do this.
Yeah, and that's the only job that you can do if you don't have ID. You're either homeless or you...
Prostitution, right? Yeah.
Yeah, or go work in a strip club, work in the sex industry because they rarely check your ID though. Yeah. I'm not sure about now, but I could just walk into a strip club and work, fill out a few forms.
So you make a plan. So obviously, the question before I want to ask you, like when you go through all these life experiences, which is very unpleasant, very painful mentally and emotionally, did you ever stop in a moment and say, God, what to do next?
I never spoke to God. I hated God then because of my past. I believed God was those people or behave like those people. God judged me. I wasn't good enough for God. So I did everything to mock God back then. And it showed in my work as well, by like wearing nuns' outfits and hitting men with Bibles and using religion in there, because I know a lot of people had religious trauma. And so we kind of used to role play those things for them. So I used to mock God. I was very much into spiritualism, like New Age spiritualism and Wicca and all of that. And that was my kind of thing, my guiding thing. Yeah. And but no, I never once spoke to God and asked God for anything.
You are truly, you're inspiration, because honesty, it's a virtue. You know, people say like, I was always being told, just tell me the truth. Doesn't matter how awful it is. I'm gonna more like it your truth than the lies. And so there's no lies. You see you lying, it's like, my God, I hate everything. But you're teaching us all, Tessa, today, and I'm grateful that you found time today to travel from the other parts of the city here today in studio to share with audience. And I said, like, I truly believe there's going to be thousands of people, male and female, who's going to find inspiration in you, because the truth is something very important. So I'm interested about this escorting. So you have the plan, you mock at the God. We're sharing some common traits.
First I did it through porn, because when he started, as he admitted to me, he was going to brothels. I started seeing guys as well. So I started seeing one guy who was doing porn as well. And someone told me, be careful of him, he does porn. And I was like, oh, really? So I asked him about it.
I'm sorry, I don't want to come here. Come to mama. Yes.
Yeah. So it was just a physical relationship. It wasn't anything deep. And I said I was interested in just making one video. It's kind of on a bucket list for me.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, I know the people. Let's do this.
Okay, can I ask you something? Okay, I'm asking like for little Mario now, because I remember like today porn is different.
Yes, it is.
Again, when I was a kid, a teenager, right, particularly during the war in the 90s, you know what I mean? We all in army barracks will watch porn like 20 of us. Everybody's like, oh my God, like this and that. But today porn is like room service. What do you want? Flavor, taste, whatever it is, boom, it's there automatically, right? So may I ask you, for the audience and myself, because it's like I'm curious now. I'm very curious. The porn itself.
What it's like shooting it?
Yeah, what is, because we've seen the product, we've seen the acting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what is, can you, if I may ask, if it's okay to talk about this, like, you don't, you come like here, hey, Mario, coffee, you know what I mean? Let's go do it. Can you just explain to people what is the
boring?
porn?
It's boring to shoot it. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie to you and say it was a thrill. It was so boring.
Really?
Yeah. It was scripted. You get your hair and makeup done. You do photos in the positions that you're going to do. It's choreographed sex.
Yeah.
And half the time, like I'm cramping up pretty bad, but they need to get that shot and trying not to laugh because the cameras are in there and then you got to hold that pose and get your hair fixed.
Yeah, because we've seen only the action, the viewers, we didn't see the action, but it's actually the crew behind, like, like today in the podcast.
Yeah, I even asked, like, when can we start freestyling? Oh, no, because we got the camera set up at a certain angle. We got to,
Oh, my God.
So it's not like it is when you shoot porn, you look at porn differently.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's some amateur stuff, but it was choreographed. It was fake. Everything was so fake about it.
As I say, in my relationship with the porn, it's like I remember, we all grow up with it somehow, like VHS tapes and all these things. We exchange it. But today it's everything. It's available 24/7. And my question about porn, I have a few of them, but one is very important because you know the porn, you saw the porn, you done the porn, and my question is for all these so fancy called gurus, talking about porn. How much porn influencing relationship between men and women?
I think it's very much influenced.
Please.
From even when I was very young and having my first boyfriend. This guy thought he was an expert on sex because he watched one porn. Like I remember,
yeah, what else? You said it's like with the. I just must laugh. Yeah, please. Yeah.
like I remember even making out with him, and then he wanted me to put my legs over his shoulders like that. I'm like, what? What? And he's like, but then he would try something with me, and he goes, oh, but in the video, the girl likes it. Like he made me watch this porn video called The Brat.
Okay.
And it's about some woman that her husband's going to leave her unless she swallows.
Yeah.
And that's justifying for him cheating on her and everything. So every time the actors would say something, he'd go to me, see, I told you. Yep, that's what you got to do. And then he treated it like it was an actual guide to sex. Like I was horrified the first time I saw a porn. I'm like, this is disgusting. And then, but that was the Bible for him. On sex and how to pleasure a woman. And looking back now, I'm thinking, oh, I'd still cramp up today if I did half the stuff he tried to make me do with my legs, just with kissing.
Look, because, internet is a full, by the way, the water is here if you need a water, just, you know what I mean, put it out aside because I don't want you to faint, you know what I mean, I have so many questions and everything else. Everybody talks, there's so many so-called experts days, you know what I mean, the porn this, porn that, porn this, porn that, There is no person on this wall who didn't saw the porn or watch the porn or maybe fantasizing being in porn, you know what I mean? But also because you've been there, you've done that, and you know this male, I would say ego, how it works with the porn. The question is, would you suggest to the couples should watch the porn to have better sex?
Yes and no. I'm not going to lie. There is some things that realistically, but what works for one person is not going to work for another. Maybe someone might see something on a video, or I think more for women it's like some romantic movie that they want to try. Like, no, but I think a majority is just finding out together.
Yeah.
That I think the porn kind of distorts the reality, because even in escorting, guys would try certain positions that they see in porn, and I'd be telling them, mate, no, it's not going to happen. You don't know how many people were holding me in midair when I was doing that.
Okay. So, when you done the porn, obviously you done what you done, you know what I mean? So obviously for you, the life is becoming different experience. In escorting, it's again one-on-one. What is the experience of yours in escorting? How did you feel as a woman, as a Tessa, not Contessa, no as a, you need to go in the bed with a man, let's go say, I always imagine this is like a hotel room, the guy opens the door and she walks in and whatever. I don't know how these things work because I said I never experienced the escort, so I have no idea. So can you guide us through that process of escorting? I mean, it's a 1-800 Contessa call.
No, and I joined an agency.
Agency.
And it's a high-class agency. So, when I did it the first time, I had no choice. I had 40 cents in my pocket. And I thought, I can't make money anywhere else. I can't get a job. I'm sharing cans of cat food, like cans of tuna with the cat. This is ridiculous. No, I've got to go make this money. So I approached an agency and they sent me on my first job. And I met the guy. It was at a beautiful hotel in the city, beautiful boutique hotel. So it was good. The first time was a classy, beautiful hotel. And I met him in the foyer. And, I just went into show mode. Snapped into show mode, became the character.
Okay.
And then I went upstairs with him, and I just wanted to get it over and done with. There was no talking. So I just decided to take the lead.
So that's how it is actually, right?
Yeah.
So, but second time, did you skip at that part of you want to talk more with the guy? Or?
Yeah, in the later when it was kind of, because the first time it was,
It was, like losing virginity, right? You don't know what's going to expect, without
it was I thought that I was going to be okay with it, but nothing prepares you for it. So that's why I had to kind of call a male friend afterwards to have sex with him to kind of get that memory off. But then when I left with the money, I guess that's where the empowerment bit comes. Oh, there's money. Yeah,
okay.
I forgot.
So goes without saying, when you do escorting, obviously there's a fees, but you go into the agency, right? There must be some type of split of the money.
Yeah.
Is that okay to ask or not?
Yeah, that's split. That's nearly 50%.
50%?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's a lot of money. You do the hard yakka, you do the job, but okay. So when you done I'm going to relate to the interview you done recently. You say that even you done the escort with a client, that you will call your male friend to have sex with him to forget the guy you had sex as escort. Why is that?
Because I thought it was like casual sex at the time. So maybe I could get it into that mindset that it is. Yeah. That's all it is casual sex. So when I called him up straight after, said, come, I've got this hotel room all booked. And so had sex with him afterwards. But then after a while, kind of getting used to it.
Yeah.
Everything else was great. The guys, like a majority of them, were really good. They were sweet. They were gentlemen. A lot of these men, I'm like, why do you need to hire an escort? You're like what women look for. These guys were just really nice, good-looking, successful, rich, and some of them had gorgeous wives as well. I'm thinking, why are you here?
So what do you think, why the guys, and you said particularly married men, will hire escort? Why? Even the single guys, why would they hire the escort? Is a laziness? Is a
I think
thrill,
it's just,
picture, seeing you on
it's just the sex. It's not wanting a relationship. Maybe they're at that point in their life that they just don't want a relationship. They're focused on work. They don't have time for a relationship, or their partners won't do a certain sex act that they know the worker would do. Or maybe they just get off on cheating. I don't know.
Okay, interesting. I want to ask you a personal question, not a personal question. I want to ask you about escorting itself. So you meet a person, you spend time with the person, you get paid, but there must be the moment when you guys talk to each other.
Yeah, of course. And that's when I realized that was more fun, was the talking and the getting to meet them, getting to know them.
I share something with you. My ex-wife, she told me that most of her patients were coming to her, not sick, but because they want to talk as a doctor, right? And I was like, what do you mean? She says, like, they come to the door with all their problems and they just throw everything on the desk and then talking to me for 20 minutes about their problems. They have no, issues. On the other hand, when I was an altar boy, and I was an altar boy because I believed in God, but because I ran from police and ended up in church, and priest took me under his umbrella and I became an altar boy. He told me, see all these ladies here all day? I said, yes. He said, they just want to talk. Now, you have something what most of people don't have, and you know how to do this. It's a power over the man. When you talk to the man, why would the man talk to you?
I think a lot of us in the sex industry, we're counselors. Even in dancing.
That's fine. You ain't going to say that.
Even in dancing, like the majority of the private show was just talking and just listening to all these problems and just talking, getting to know people.
So you're like a therapist more than
Yeah.
anything else. Yeah. With a sweeten at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, that's I'll put that way. Look, your life, it's truly something remarkable. And like, whoever listening right now, guys, wherever you are in Hollywood, wherever they are, this is what you need for the public speaker, Tessa Williams. No, I'm serious. I'm serious because everybody try to portray themselves as a, victim, and they try to adjust their resume and their biography according to situation. So far, you're nothing short than excitement and my resentment towards the men who are bad towards the women, right? So this is what it is, Tessa. This is the raw interview. Now, when you finished that escorting, get the money, everything else, how did you feel? How did you feel mentally? Again, mentally, because I want to drive this one towards your mental status of your mental health at the end. So how did you feel now? So the stripping, porn, you try some antidepressants as well?
Sorry?
You done some antidepressants
Yes.
before? But now it's escorting. Now it's you elevating your life like, you know what I mean?
It's I didn't have the ID and I knew this was it for me. I just didn't even see myself as a person anymore. I just saw myself as someone who was in survival that had to, this is where I was going to be. I better be happy where I am because I need to make the best of it. So I had to do what I had to do to survive. And I was lucky enough to be earning good money when I was doing it because I could end up on the street or I could end up in one of those low-class brothels. So at the time, I was like, I should appreciate where I am. So I was doing, I was with a good agency that looked after me. I was going to top hotel rooms. But for me, it was just, it was only a few days a week. It wasn't like every day. Majority overall, the clients were good. They were nice guys, they were good. But there was an emptiness inside. I was a shell at the end of the day.
That's interesting what you're saying, that you felt like a shell.
Yeah.
How's your love life, that stage?
I never really had a love life after my, like I did have boyfriends here and there after I had broken up with my husband, but never really had relationships since then, and it's been a while.
Okay.
So I told myself I'm never going to have a relationship again if I have to work in this industry.
Oh, okay. I like. It's interesting how the lives are bouncing ever different. You have every guy you can have. You make good money, whatever it is, and somebody complain, I have no money, I have no girlfriend, you know what I mean, and everything else. So where was a moment when you now elevated your life to the full scale level of the pleasure, which is BDSM? So like we started with the stripping, porn, and what was it calling? Escorting, and now into the world of the BDSM. You're still married. How's your cat? That cat in that moment is
well taken care of.
Yeah, okay, okay.
She was with me. I made sure because my ex was threatening to. When my ex found the porn, that's when he left. I was
Found the porn of you.
Yeah, I think my sister-in-law had sent it to him or something. I was very open about the porn on my social media. I wanted him to find out, and I wanted to see his face when he found out as well, which I thought was brilliant.
It was worth it?
It was worth it. I still once in a while I think about it, I just burst out laughing. I'm like,
you're smiling,
you're smiling.
Yeah. Can you describe that scene when he saw? Please, I want to laugh with
sleep, and he came bursting into the room, and he goes, Contessa Doll, and I'm like, yep, that's me. And then
1-800 Contessa Doll, yes.
Yeah, and then he goes, how long have we been married? And I said, well, nearly 10 years. And he goes, guess how long I've been cheating on you? And I said, I really don't care.
Oh.
I really, really don't care. And he admitted to getting an STD from a prostitute one time and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I really don't care. And I said, what idiot gets an STD from a prostitute? Do you know what condoms are? So I was like,
he's an idiot,
yeah. So he was saying stuff to hurt me. But by then I'm like, are you going to go? That's when he said, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm like, yes. And then
he left.
Yeah, he got a down payment on a place and started packing to leave. And I'm like, thank goodness.
So the porn was actually revenge porn, right? Mm-hmm. So, what I said is before, the women have all this what men don't have. We are babies compared
men can
to women.
do porn. I worked a lot with the male porn stars.
Okay. I'm going to ask you something off the camera. So obviously, you were seeing a man, the husband's leaving, cat is being looked after. You don't share in the can of tuna. I know that feeling. I never share a can of tuna, but I know in 2009 when my life was going down and marriage was slipping away and my son was diagnosed with epilepsy, I always come at that moment when we were just breaking apart, entire family. But the last moment I was selling my son toys, and it was the worst experience in my life. Selling my kid toys to live another day. I mean, it was a shitty feeling. Now, you are obviously feeling now a little bit more free.
Yeah. Oh, when you left, I was so happy. You don't understand the freedom. Like my friend and I went furniture shopping at Bunnings.
Okay.
Oh, I was so happy. I felt like it was like I'm coming home and I don't get the anxiety when I feel the front door open anymore.
Yeah.
I can feel that my cat is safe. He's not going to do anything to her to hurt me because he knew that I was very fond of that cat.
Yeah.
And he even threatened to take the cat from me because he put the cat in his name when we adopted her and threatened he was going to take her. And I took those papers and I hid them in my locker at work. So,
You're good. You're good, Tessa. Seriously, no, honestly, there's many rubbish movies there on from Hollywood about, some people who are very brave and do this and that. But looks like your entire life is just one big storm, you know what I mean? You go like a perfect storm. You just go with the waves, you go down and like again, boof, and go boof. We're all gonna learn from these guys, big things. BDSM.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was always interested in it from as long as I can, long as I was reading those books from the Marquis de Sade. And I've never met, if you know anything of his work, those books, you can barely finish them. Because
I never read. They're not forbidden, but that's like we always, in school, we were recommended Marquis de Sade, this and that.
You were recommended that in school?
Yeah, it was a reading, you know. But in Europe, it's different. I mean, it's like, you know, you're reading this because they try to portray him as a deviant, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's what it is. But I never read it. I mean, I don't think that anybody read, I know. Like, but it was a day on the shelves of Marquis de Sade. You see thickness, like, you know. So, first of all, you need to read the books. Why would you read a book, say, about BDSM? Sadomaso. Not BDSM.
I had this love-hate relationship with sex as well, because I felt like even when I had lost my virginity at 21, I did it on my terms. I felt like my virginity was a burden, and because I'd been treated so badly previously from guys. So when I met a guy that I knew that I wanted a one-night stand with, it was just to get rid of my virginity, because I feel like that was a burden. And I had this love-hate relationship with sex. Like I liked it, but I hated it at the same time. And this kind of feel like was the perfect thing for me.
You love, but you hate it.
Yes.
Interesting, yeah. I lost my virginity when I was 18 years old. Always said this one with a girl. She was younger than me, and then the war broke out. I want to die because I'll never gonna see her, never have sex. So you choose the guy. You lost virginity, but somehow you
had to show him ID the next day because he thought I was underage.
You're tricky.
He was actually I won't say his name, but he was a celebrity.
No name.
He was a celebrity.
Yeah.
And that's when I thought, this is perfect. I've met this celebrity who's in a band, and this is the perfect opportunity. I might as well do it with him. Yeah. And then the next day I told him that I was a virgin, and then he goes, how old are you? Be honest. And I said, I'm 21. He goes, oh, yeah, BS, you're not 21. And then I pulled my ID out to show him.
You know, funny thing it is, my father, my late father, he's dead, 30 years, but he always told me, you're going to remember 2 women in your life. I said, like, why 2 women? He said, like, first one and the last one. He said, I don't remember my first one because it was very old. He said, but remember, your mother is the worst experience. I said to myself, I don't want that experience in my life. But you see, you say this with a smile on your face.
Yeah, because I look back at it as being so funny at that time. The whole situation, I can understand now why he thought I was underage. I was acting like an idiot that whole night. I was trying to come across as being seductive and everything. I must have thought, who is this girl, seriously?
Who is this girl? So you are graduating continuously. You say something very, very interesting. Seduction. Attraction, seduction, destruction. So this is the name of my book, new one. So anyway, but the thing is, sadomaso, Marquis de Sade is not BDSM. BDSM, it's a 21st century expression.
Yeah, but he was like the godfather of that kind of, when it kind of got brought into light. I believe it was older than that, from the Roman times, that sex acts, violent sex acts have been around. But this was kind of bringing it more mainstream and to the surface. And I can imagine people reading it back then would have been fainting, because some of that stuff is hardcore, especially if you go in there with a virgin mind. I was really horrified.
Okay, so you didn't wake up one morning and say like, hi world, my name is Tessa Williams. I'm going to the library to choose the book Marquis de Sade. How did you come in possession of that book? Somebody must give it to you.
First I saw it was like a character on a movie, the Marquis de Sade, and I thought, there's no way that guy's real, that women are getting off on being whipped. There's no way. But at the same time, it intrigued me. And then I saw that there was a book, Marquis de Sade, because you can't miss that name. Yeah. And then I decided to read. I was a secondhand bookshop. I read a little bit, and I'm like, whoa, hang on, no, because I just opened it at a certain page. And then I decided, it was a cheap book. It was like $5 or something. I decided to take it home, read it a little bit. I couldn't barely finish it, but the parts that stood out were quite grotesque. And then I went to The Story of O, that book. And that was more seductive, more nice. It did have, but it was that curiosity that people are into this. This is stuff I've never heard of before. but I'm so intrigued but so repulsed at the same time. And that's what kind of got me hooked and got me reading more into it and more into it.
Okay, so theory needs to go into practice.
Sorry?
Theory
Yeah.
goes into practice. So how did you transition, or how did you decide that, okay, enough of the reading, I'm going to go into practical way of BDSM?
This is before I was married and got into the industry. I told like a boyfriend at the time that I was into that. He's going, "Oh, you're so sick," and that guy was sick, and every person that I told that I was kind of into this and curious about it, I was told there was something wrong and, "Oh, you're a bit of a wild one." But there was no one that really took me seriously until I actually went to one of these parties, and this was while I was in the stripping industry.
Yeah.
That I went to one of these parties. I think it was like Hellfire before Hellfire became all commercial.
Yeah.
And then I met a guy there that was a master that I kind of got talking to. Like, I spoke to him. We got into a conversation of, and that's when he kind of propositioned if I wanted to, be collared by him. So just kind of a term for being a slave.
Yeah. I can't imagine seeing you being slave. No, seriously. No, don't take it wrong, because, you come across as a very...
Very dominant.
Exactly. Yeah. But you're a very emotional person as well, same time, you're the woman, so like, it's hard for me to see somebody collar you and, so like do this, do that.
It was more slave training as being a student. It was
okay.
more that he wanted. He was happy to teach me stuff and really show off what he could do and everything, because we had a good conversation that night. And he was a very intelligent guy. He was very nice as well. He looked very scary, but inside he was like a teddy bear.
Okay.
So it was just going to be that relationship between us.
So did you felt with this person who's your, let's go call mentor?
Master.
Your master, sorry, master. Please feel free to correct me because I don't know the terminology. So your master, you feel with your master safe, protected,
yes.
and being looked after properly as a human being, not just a, yeah?
Yeah, and that's how it was with us. And he would show me, or during the week, he would kind of tell me about this stuff. And if I would say yes or no to certain stuff, and then we'd meet up. And then he had his own dungeon, everything, and he was very much in that lifestyle. Because
this is a scene, even in Sydney, before the COVID was, we heard about some places, I heard as well, but it was all this invitation only, right? There was no like, just walk in, it's like I want to be the slave, whatever it is.
So there are establishments that will do that.
Yeah, the establishment. So you started your solo career, right? After that?
Yeah, it was after a while I was... he said that I would be a very good dominatrix. He said you're an alpha female, you're kind of a masculine female, that you would really... And before he could even finish the sentence, I'm like, yes, absolutely. And I applied to work at an establishment, and they straight away said no. And then he...
Why? No work experience?
No work experience, and I didn't look like a dominatrix at all.
Sorry, can you just explain to me how the dominatrix should look like?
Like a Disney witch. I looked more like a Barbie. And they didn't believe, the woman called me a show pony.
That's how she called you?
Yeah. And said that, she believed I was one of those girls that just bought a little lingerie set and decided to be a dominatrix. And then he stepped in and he said, I know this girl. I've trained this girl. She's really good. Yeah. And it was another place that took me straight away.
So, you're doing this through another establishment, right? Not on your own, but establishment that had I presume, the dungeons, whatever this is. Yeah.
It was really beautiful.
How did you feel that moment? How did you feel that moment you were like zipped? Can I ask you, what was uniform or?
Yeah, I wore mostly PVC latex. I rarely wore leather, but I wore something that was easy to clean. And after a while, you realize that you're working with a lot of body fluids.
Yeah.
So you need something that's easy to clean and you're back to work the next day. So I got my PVC, everything. I was kind of, the first job I was nervous because it was a cock and ball torture.
Cock and ball torture.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's something I never done before. And I'm like, okay, where do I start?
Yeah, he didn't show you. Your master didn't show you that part.
No, he didn't really show me that bit.
Okay, let me just ask you first question. Is there any difference between the type of the clients you were seeing male, female, or just a male?
If I saw, I had a thing, I didn't want to hit a woman at all. But when it came to couples...
You didn't want to hit a woman? Is that like a woman thing? Like, I don't want to hit the woman?
Okay. Didn't want to. I just even... There, I had a rule. No women, no friends.
Okay.
And so it was the guys that... if they came in with their wife, yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine
with a
couple.
Wife?
Yeah, if the husband's there. So I feel safe.
So there was the guys who bring the wife into the...
No, there was plenty of guys that brought their wives in. Plenty of guys that set up fantasies for their wives. Like one man's wife was her fantasy to have a gangbang with many men. Okay. He set it up there at the place for her. I wasn't a part of that, but I saw the videos the next day of her being tied up and just had multiple men on her. She was awake. She was, it was her fantasy.
This is so new world for me. Like I was seeing that just on the movies, this like a porn movies. Okay,
My friend was a part of that as well.
Okay.
And saying how it was choreographed and scripted and everything to exactly because it was her fantasy, it was her anniversary.
So anniversary, it's actually gangbang tied up.
Yes.
In dungeon.
Yeah. Well, she got ready in another room and then had to be blindfolded and brought in, and he kind of kept everything to the script, guys. What we're doing next.
Oh my God! Like I was expecting that one. So okay, so the man was your predominant clients, as we say, a part of the couples, and no woman, no friend. Okay, that's fair income. That's very nice of you. What was the type of the man coming to the door?
Really normal. They were your everyday guys, a lot of successful men, because it's not a cheap service. It's more expensive than an escort service.
May I ask you, is it okay to ask what's the, it's a daily rate, what's the half a day, hour, the fantasy, how do you charging and?
Oh, depending on how hard you want to go in the service.
What do you mean hard you're going to say? It's like, no, please, I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand, you know what I mean? Like, okay, so you wanted somebody, you know, you whip me, whatever. I'll say this one, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if it was like standard, like whipping and that, and then you're going into something more evasive, like when they want objects inside of them. And then when they want objects and electricity, and even the size of the object as well. So when you realize, you know, you're going to be bordering on really harming the person, you kind of charge a lot more.
What are we looking for? What are we looking the hardcore? Let's go say injecting the objects and what it is. What would that be?
Oh, that's $800 an hour.
$100 per hour. My God. Okay, so look, I'm gonna try to understand because it's like that's a very important part of the interview now.
And because the cheapest was a foot fetish that I would charge like $200 to $300 for.
What's the foot fetish involved?
When I'd get a free foot massage. They would just play with my...
massage.
There were men that just were obsessed with feet and could only get off on feet. That want to touch and caress and everything feet for a long time. I would even ask them, like, I felt bad because I said to one, why don't you do it with your wife? You said you're married. Just massage her feet when you're watching TV. He said no. She said it's disgusting. I'm thinking for this money you could have taken her for dinner. It's like, you're massaging my feet.
You know what I like about you? I truly like about you because it looks like you're caring about those people. Yeah. You will ask the question, why don't you do this to your wife or your girlfriend, right? It's okay, that's a foot fetish.
Like a foot fetish is the most basic thing. Like who doesn't, unless you're really ticklish.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want that? Just you sit there and you just have your feet massaged.
Okay, so was it then hardcore when they walk in the door? Like that cannot be 1 hour service, right? If you do something quite lazy, right? You know what I mean? That's not a 1 hour show, right?
The hardcore ones?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go over an hour.
Yeah.
But because it's a slow process, like first of all, when we come in, they tell me exactly what they want. If they don't know what they want, we go around and we look at equipment and they kind of tell me, okay, I'm interested in this, I'm interested in that. But a lot of them have ideas about what they want. And then if it's going to be invasive, it's an enema straight away. Got to do the water enema on them straight away. And make sure they're all clean, make sure they're ready, have the amyl ready for when they get inserted too, and the type of lube as well ready, which is Crisco.
My God,
you can't use normal lube. You have to use Crisco, so I can't eat biscuits after the smell of Crisco anymore.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing
because Crisco with the biscuits. I'm like, no.
No.
the Crisco lard, because it doesn't dry. So you got to get that there. So that got your gloves ready, the size of the gloves as well.
So in that process, when somebody says, I wanted some of these toys forever, right? Do you already know that person done this?
Yes.
Or, okay.
But the first timers that don't know what they want, we talk about it before. Everything is discussed. Everything that I'm going to do to them is discussed. There's no surprises.
Question for you. Did you feel that you have the more power with the man when he walks in your dungeon?
Yes, when he was tied up, yes.
Oh, okay. Look at the smile on your face.
Yeah, because but the guy also knew that he was in a safe, consensual environment, and all he had to do was say mercy if he didn't like something.
So it's a safe word as well. I was thinking that was a joke in the movies, and I was like, I don't know, that's what I'm asking.
Got to have a safe word, because if this person could die, people have died during BDSM, and if the person, if you do something to them that they don't want, it's a sexual assault. I can be charged.
Oh, okay. So this is not like a signed NDA and everything else, but it's a safe word to safeguard the client because you're in control, obviously, of that person. Okay, BDSM, it's a top of the, as you said, 50 Shades of Grey, it's just vanilla, right? It's like, but yet many women watch that movie.
Yeah.
What would you think if they saw Contessa Doll in action?
I think that they would, the brutal, but the reality is the type of BDSM I did was really the brutal, the worst of the worst. 50 Shades is more the romantic type. Yeah. I was so bored in that movie. I was watching it with a BDSM crowd. We were watching it with the BDSM crowd. We went there on a Valentine's Day to go watch it.
Such a nice day to choose. And
then one of the guys who was a master went, I taught him everything he knows type comments. We were making so much fun of this movie and I was bored.
Interesting. Like this, look, I don't know that word, but when you say, hard of the hard. What is that actually entitling? So
you wouldn't see any of what I was doing on BDSM in that movie. What I would what you would classify me as the movie Saw or the movie Hostel was what you would classify what I was doing, because a lot of it was just plain torture.
Torture.
Without the pleasure.
Without pleasure. Mm-hmm. Okay. Question straight away. Why the man want to be tortured by Dom, right? It's Dom, right? Dominatrix, Dom, right? Mm-hmm. Why? When they walk inside of you, sorry to interrupt.
It's a safe environment to do that. I always advise them, don't do it on your own because you'll kill yourself. You'll be like Michael Hutchinson.
Yeah,
Look at
that's
him.
it.
And then they know it's a safe, controlled environment. It's a professional that knows when to stop and knows what they're doing.
But why?
But why is some of them, could be unresolved pain. It could be curiosity. Like a lot of reasons. Like a lot of men were not abused but are just into it. And there's also amazing high that you can get from pain. Once you break through that first 10-minute threshold, the feeling is euphoric. And they're chasing that rush, that high that you get from it.
So you already knew when the guy's going to have that climax type, right? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. With all these insertions in, obviously, the bottom.
Yeah.
We talk about penis as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Needles being put in them, everything. It's like they're chasing that ultimate pain high. And I found out instead of hurting them more, I thought I'd tenderize the skin, which is the right thing to do, to make it hurt a lot more than what was...
I think you can now say to Marquise Assad, okay, part 2 is coming, Contessa Doll. Did you have the regulars?
Yes, I had a lot of regulars. I'm still friends with some of them to this day.
Okay. And when they come to you, obviously they trust you, right?
Yes.
That's the most important thing is about trust, I mean. What was well, I'm going to ask you one question. I had one of your interviews that you are using electricity, right?
Yes.
Okay. That is something I can't understand, like, I mean. Why would somebody chase that?
That type of pain you get from electricity. Electricity was my favorite as well.
I'm so sorry, this, yeah.
Pain is just, it it's not like a normal standard pain. It just kind of goes straight to your bones and it kind of pulsates.
Yeah.
And I was getting off on that deep pain that I realized that I'm also into as well.
Yeah.
And I think that's the feeling. It's the type of pain that it just, it really gets into
Guess
you.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not like being whipped. Whipped is okay. You get that sting once in a while. But that is kind of like throbbing, constant. And if you're careful, because I was told you can have permanent nerve damage. So I was told use it sparingly.
Yeah.
Don't constantly go, because I used to go and play with the equipment when I was bored. So
So you really enjoyed that part of
it was my favorite was that there. Like I'm not gonna. I was one of those people as well. After a while, I seemed to realize that I enjoy that as well. So I was using that majority. I had my own one at home as well. And it was also something I would recommend to the clients. I would say if you don't want to leave marks, you use this.
So the marks was actually problem because if you're like to say if you're married and you come home, it's hard to explain to your wife that your ass has been spanked. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
and
for sure.
a lot of them wanted me to go harder, and I said no, these need to heal up. So I'd recommend the electricity to them. So I also had to be very, very careful when I did that as well, and exactly where to stick those pads on them and everything else.
So what's the most of fantasies man has when he sees you in PVC, in dungeon? Like this is like it's a science fiction movie. It's like a porn movie, like on a steroids. You know what I mean? There is a dome, the dominatrix. You know what I mean? In the high heels and whatever type of uniform you had. You know what I mean? And the man walks inside, and it's like this is like a Disneyland. It's like give me everything.
It was the fear on their face when they would see me when I'd walk in. I'd be a different person before that, discussing it with them. But when they saw me walk into that role, and knowing that they mean business, and half the time I was playing with their heads, telling them to scream, and I said, "Do you hear anyone coming? No one's coming to get you. I can do what I like to you."
Oh my God!
I would mess with them and saying that, that I was going to be taking this in a different direction. Like I'd go to grab the wrong equipment, this massive dildo that was the size of my head, and they'd be like, I'd be like, well, I thought you wanted this one.
So you actually will fulfill any fantasy of the man.
Yeah, and a lot of that works with a lot of psychology on top of it, not just hitting people. And I never screamed at anyone. I never raised my voice. It was just a majority to put the fear in them, to make, if you get someone scared, and it's going to hurt a lot more, rather than them.
How did you you didn't want to somebody come to you anymore, because obviously there's some of these men must fall in love with you.
I did have a lot of guys ask me out afterwards. I'd be like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like one guy, I had been fisting him and he was covered in excrement. And then he had the nerve to ask me out afterwards. And I just said to him, you're covered in shit. And he goes, yeah, but are you free sometime? I just kept repeating, you're covered in shit, mate. Don't ask me out.
Look, this is the world we don't see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, the question I do have, majority are married men. Why? Why
Their
do married
wives
men
don't know about that other side of them.
Okay.
They would be horrified if they saw that side of them. Some of these men are into the most depraved, disgusting, perverted stuff, and their wives would leave them in a second if they found out. And what they were doing was not necessarily sexual. There was nothing sexy. It was just all about this pain. Like we did have a couple people like coming there for some training and stuff, or anal training for their wife, and another old couple coming in there because she's too old to hit him anymore. She needs a professional to do it.
Tessa, I really love your rawness of your honesty. You know what I mean? Most of us have no idea. We see the movies, we see the porn movies, we see the images. We can hear this stuff, but you live something like this. I was in Germany this year for the work, and there's a place called the Kit Kat in Berlin. Have you ever heard for that one?
No, but I know that Germany is the BDSM capital.
That's correct, yeah. So that's one. So I know somebody who knows these people, so I need to see them for the conversation. And the guy says to me, would you like to come? I said, look, I'm not interested in this. So you want? It's like, no, it's not that I love it or not. I just don't like to be, on that scene because many other reasons. But there is a curiosity in the people because it says to me, everybody who wants to come to that club, it's so curious, and when it comes once, it doesn't leave it again. So like for you to say these things, it is big deal for the audience because after you're doing all of this, and obviously, did you enjoy?
Yes.
Yeah.
I have to say I did enjoy doing it at the time. I thought I was helping people. I thought I was healing people. I was making them feel normal because a lot of them said, I feel normal when I'm with you. I feel like a freak any other time. But we're there having a normal conversation about the stuff, and they just said it was refreshing just to be honest. They could be themselves. They could be their real selves in front of me. So I thought I was doing a lot of good with that. I did realise that I was actually, I could have been taking them to do worse because everyone's chasing the ultimate high and they want to take it up a level. They want to take it up after a while.
Where is your heart when you're doing that? Where's your love?
Where's my love?
Yeah. Did you love somebody? Did you be in a relationship with somebody?
I was not in a relationship with anyone.
Except with yourself?
Yeah.
You trusted yourself?
I didn't want to be in any relationships while I was with that, even though I did get asked out a lot. I just thought, it's I'm a sex worker.
Yeah.
This is who I'm going to be. I've got no ID, so even if I had a child now, I can't work a normal job. And who wants a mum that's going to be a dominatrix? I wouldn't do that to a kid. So I was all about my work. I was like the clothes that I wore outside of work, I wore tracksuits and all of that. My clothes, I wore.
Yeah.
I spent all my money on my uniforms and my PVC and I put so much into that character. I was researching different stuff online and reading books and what I can do more.
Before I move another part of our interview, you know the life of us other, you know what I mean? Like I said, general public, right? If the couple wants to spice their life and include that little BDSM, whatever it is, spanking, I want to talk about, the fisting, all these things, but let's just say some of these things, but would you recommend this to the couples?
Yeah, to a married couple, it's like if you're married, nothing is really going to be out of bounds because if it's for sex, that's up to the individual. Yeah. Like some people will say, no, sex is just meant to be made.
It's like a baby's,
Yeah, or just made in missionary. I'm like, no, but if they want to do that, it's the marriage body. The marriage bed can't be defiled or whatever. It's go. Do that if it's what you're into and just keep it in between the two of you. Don't introduce a third and fourth person. Like as long as it's monogamous and both consensual, why not?
When is the moment from your experience now, because you had the power over the man, I just try to figure out this, the hanging of the ceiling, whatever, tied up. And there is a Contessa Doll, the dream girl, the woman there, causing the pain and pleasure. When is the moment when what you learn in your life experience into this man, when sex stop being sex or making love with the couples, when they stop being intimate? Did men tell you when they stop intimate with their wives or girlfriends?
The only one that was honest with me was the younger guys who was telling me that.
Younger guys?
Yeah.
What do you mean younger guys?
When guys, because the older men, they've been there, they had every single pleasure in life you can imagine. They had the best women, they had the best food, they had the best sex, they had the best lifestyle. They're chasing something else. They're chasing this something more. And it's the ultimate pain. It's the one you haven't really explored, and they're finding out they're loving being degraded. The more powerful the man, the more he likes being degraded.
Wow.
You will never get a blue-collar Joe in there wanting to be degraded. Because he gets degraded at work, he gets degraded from his wife, he gets degraded in life of who he is. But this man who's the CEO of a company probably comes from a wealthy family and has everyone kissing his butt 24/7. He wants to be degraded. He wants to have bodily fluids showered on him. He wants to be dressed up like a girl and just being, all the worst things you can imagine, or dressed up like a dog, treated like a dog, have hooks put inside of him and everything else.
Wow, that is the next level. So the question I just lost now when you talk to me about is not average Joe, the age group. What is the lowest age?
The youngest was
Yeah,
18, who just had turned 18, came to see me.
Sorry, may I ask you, why 18 years old want to see dominatrix? 18 years old boy want to see...
18, who had never even been kissed before, had a girlfriend, was suddenly into BDSM. And he said because porn doesn't do it for him. He tried sex and it was boring. And this is what he likes. And he's been watching these videos and he knows that he's going to like it. And he seemed to want, off the bat, some pretty brutal stuff done to him. That even I was saying, are you sure? You know what this is, right? I was very hesitant to do. But he knew, and he said, I've been inserting objects inside myself and I've been doing this to myself. And I'm just thinking this guy would have been from porn completely
Dumb.
no, because I put porn on the TV in the background just for, and he said, oh, I'm not interested in that crap. And that's how I kind of got the conversation going.
My God, you are a true psychologist. You know, seriously, like you will need to read so many personalities and so many different type of the people. So Tessa, I want to ask you as well when we talk about BDSM, all that pain caused to the others, physical pain is one thing, but you say something very interesting, that you caused psychological pain as well. Can you just explain what do you mean psychological pain?
When someone's tied up and vulnerable, I want to take them to a place where they're feeling vulnerable because, just by talking to them before we start, I'm kind of sussing them out. I used to make them feel scared of where they are. Or I would just play on their psychology, like for instance, when I used to dress, when I dressed up like a nurse.
Okay.
I'm a nurse, sorry. I wear like a nun. And
Okay.
there used to be a schoolroom in this place.
Okay.
And while they were, I would make them stand at the front of the class and strip naked.
My God, that's a bringing to childhood.
And then this guy, he honestly, he just afterwards he said, "Thank you for doing that to me," because it kind of took me out of my comfort zone. I would just treat them like bad schoolboys and that, but bring out the vulnerability in them. Or when I used to be in those roles of being a nun, and I'd make them read the Bible while I slapped them about the face and saying, "Louder, louder." And I would repeat stuff that I'd hear on the word, on, Carrie, the movie, like what the mother would say on that there.
You are really, your imagination is like, you know what I mean? So you are always talk before you commit
you got
to
to
that
strip
role.
down. Some of them would be crying after because I've kind of hit a raw nerve with a lot of them. Or I would make them repeat that they would look at themselves in the mirror and say, "I'm a useless human being. I'm not human." And then that they would start crying because I know when you see the eyes starting to well up, I know that I've hit a raw nerve, and when I'm going to hit you, it's going to sting twice as bad.
So when you swing at the Bible, right? Obviously, it was not a small Bible.
It was huge. Oh my goodness, it was a big one.
And he just slap it.
Yeah. I'd be slapping them in the face with it, everything. When they're reading, if they mispronounced a word, I would be. And it kind of took them back because a lot of people did have religious trauma from that. And it kind of was triggering for them.
And for you as well.
Yes. And this was kind of my way of dealing with it as well. And plus I was mocking religion as well.
Did you enjoy mocking religion?
It was kind of...
Relieving?
Yeah, it was kind of like a big middle finger at my past. That you said that this big old powerful mighty God is going to have dominance over my life and he can judge me and this is what I think of him. So I would just the Bible was used as a weapon to hit people in the face, to slap them, to make them read it. They'd have to read the Bible while I was whipping them with their pants down.
What's happened with the Tess, with Contessa Doll stays there? You put your whip, your Bible, your uniform.
Yeah, when I was a nun, my name was Sister Fister.
Sister Sister Fister.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that feasting. Is that what the most of guys want?
Yes, a lot of guys wanted something in their anus.
Okay, something in their anus.
It was every second guy. That would come up, or they'd just come for that, and I'm like, and what else do you want to do? Just that? Okay, boring.
Okay, may I ask this? Okay, look, I try to put my head, properly now. when men want something heinous, isn't that sort of like homosexual act?
No, it's where the male G spot is.
Oh, okay.
And
So
a
that's
lot
not the what's it calling? Just a conspiracy theory. It's a G-spot there. It is there.
It is though,
Oh,
and
okay.
some like a couple of my clients, I was very shocked to see that some people don't have a penis because it's inverted, so they unable.
Come on, don't tell me this. Okay.
Yeah. They have. It looks like a belly button where it's facing in the body. They don't have anything there, so apparently, like that's the only way that they can get off. They would come there a few days a week or once in a while to have sex. But these men had kids.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, so it works.
So something works. Okay. Look, you saw everything. Okay. What was the worst for you? What was the most hardest, I would say, act you need to do with somebody in BDSM as a dom?
Hard acts didn't really shock me, but I did have an incident that did shock me.
Okay, which is?
I'm trying not to mention any names in this.
No names.
But people who are there in the room know who I'm talking about.
Well, it was just me and you.
It was a party. No, it was this party booking that I had to do.
I just need to.
This was at the place that I worked. That they just didn't have. After I had left the dungeon, after that closed down, another establishment had booked me called Stilettos. Yeah. And they had a party room. And sometimes guys can choose multiple girls to go up for a party. Yeah. There's everything going on in there. Yeah. And there were this group of good-looking young guys and everything. And they were just openly having sex with the girls in front of each other. And one guy couldn't get hard, so he called another guy over, and the guy started throwing fellatio on him. And I'm like, oh, okay, a bit of boy and boy action. Okay. Here we go. And then, just to get him hard so he can penetrate the girl. So afterwards, I was telling one of the girls, and I was like, did you see the guy on guy action? Oh, my goodness. And they were both hot as well. She goes, what are you talking about? And I'm like, didn't you see? She goes, no. Are you joking? Okay. Like, she was really shocked. Yeah. And I was like, why? She goes, they're brothers. And I did not believe her. And then she took out the Instagram. Okay. All those guys were brothers. They all lived together. I'm like, what? He couldn't have sex unless his brother performed a sex act on him.
Oh my God, that is. Look, I was expecting we're gonna go that one.
What is Christmas like at their house? Jeez. Then they all live together as well.
Jeez,
and
man.
These are good-looking guys as well. I'm like, what happened in their life?
Let's go mix now the psychological pain, physical pain, your life experience as a stripper, escort, porn star, BDSM queen. Now, why the guys fail to have the girlfriend? What did guys doing wrong when approaching the girl?
A lot of them did have girlfriends.
Okay.
Although, like these men, especially the men that were into BDSM, were not lacking in finding partners because they had everything that most women want. They were successful. They could look after any girl. Yeah. Some of them did have some very young, beautiful wives and girlfriends. It's just that part of them that those women could not fulfill.
That is very interesting, yeah. In that time when you are the dom, have you been the dom to somebody, with somebody privately for your own pleasure, or the slave? Is that what it is, slave? Yeah. Yeah?
I was doing a majority inside of work.
Okay.
In my spare time was my spare time. And if I did have a sexual relationship, it was with a guy that I filmed with that day.
Okay.
So I wasn't really going out looking for relationships at the time because
I love your honesty. Seriously, I love your honesty. Like, because you don't say like, oh no, I just separated myself. You enjoy the time. So that was a very well paid industry. And
yes.
So why did you decide to stop being BDSM queen?
It happened, I was very busy and I was doing very well. I was very successful as well. Yeah. I was winning awards as well. And I just got hired by the best establishment in Sydney to be their resident dominatrix. And I was on top of the world. I was...
And your role is yours?
Yeah.
So what's happened?
COVID happened. COVID.
Oh,
suddenly.
God. Yeah, I forgot about that part. It was like,
Yeah.
stay at home.
Yeah, and suddenly it just hit a wall all of a sudden, and everything had to come to a stop. And then I can't get. No one predicted that it was going to come because we save money, but no one predicted that the world was going to come to a standstill. And like I couldn't get no ID, mind the way, so I can't get Social Security.
You still have no ID.
No. No
So
way of
we're
getting
talking
it.
2020, right?
Yes.
And you still
I
have
was
no
10
ID.
years with no ID.
What the? I mean, why your parents didn't help you? Or?
I asked my dad, I asked my sister. My dad is my sister's puppet. She told him that no, a person of her age, you can't do it for them. And I spoke to a lawyer who said that's garbage, they can do it.
Of course, they can do it.
Yeah, and no, then after it became, you're going to use the money for drugs. And I said, what drug dealer is going to ask for ID? I work in an industry
Oh my God,
where drugs
yes.
is on the table. If you want Coke, it's going to be in one of those long bookings. Like it's going to be on a plate. Like she made up any excuse, and I realize now my sister is just she's a miserable person who wants the world to be miserable with her.
Are you talking to your sister?
No, definitely not.
I have a similar situation. Like, I don't know, like, it's sort of like a blue carbon copy. Your life and my life is some things. It's a BDSM and porn. And okay, but I don't talk to my brother for past 10 years as well. And no regrets. I say, like, if I need to leave tomorrow, meet my makeup, but I need to protect things in my life. But why your sister? She doesn't want to help you.
She was my biggest bully since I could remember.
Come on, seriously?
Yes.
Sister?
Yes.
So she's older than you?
Yes.
Or? Okay.
That
Look at
right
me.
up until my adult years, my biggest bully. The one that I kind of had to walk on eggshells around. The one where if I was making fun of myself, I knew that I was safe around her. If I kind of take those insults that she would take and I would make it into a joke. Because, for years, it's like you kind of know that she has the personality to be a dominatrix, a psychopath dominatrix.
So is that...
How you would expect a dominatrix to be that gets off on suffering.
I had a relationship with somebody and I didn't know she's a psychopath, literally psychopath. We look, nobody brings their resume. So like, listen, and I'm going to do this to you on that day, right?
Yeah.
You learn as you go. You don't come across as this one. You are somebody who is genuinely woman who lived her life and, go from one side to another side, finally finding yourself in the arms of Jesus. But your sister, she's clearly a psychopath. I mean, why would you see your sibling? Even I talk to my brother, I will never refuse to help him, if I know that this is his livelihood or, needs to make the money or buy the property, whatever. That's not normal.
Yeah, that's always been her as long as I can remember. Like, I could write a whole story on her growing up was like with her.
I'm pretty sure you should write that story because people should learn from you. From this interview, it's like, I know it's going to be a lot of people that's going to learn these things. So my question now is, COVID happened. I remember I was in Dubai 16th of March 2020, yeah? And I just got the word they're going to shut down the borders. So like, nah. And boom, happened.
Yeah.
So you save money, you work good job, cat has enough tuna cans, life is good, you feel on top of the world.
Yeah.
And then another slap in the face.
Yeah, that came and that kind of, business had to stop. A lot of women moved online, but I can't work online because I deal with pain about
That's okay. You can't
physical. Yeah. And I'm in a COVID hotspot. I'm living in the city, so I can't leave my house without getting into trouble. So I can't go visit these people, even though they're calling me up and saying, could you come, please? I need to see you. I couldn't go see them. So it became very, very hard for me to work, make money. I couldn't get Centrelink because no ID, no Centrelink. I couldn't get any government assistance. So I had to kind of get through my savings.
Yeah, because when you don't work in, savings melting quickly. That people don't know. Doesn't matter how much money you make. If you don't work, you're spending what you have and it's going to the end. Doesn't matter what you do. So how did you survive?
It's just I managed to survive the first COVID lockdown. When the second one came, there's no way. I'm sorry. I would have been homeless. And that's when that second one kind of hit, it was kind of like a big kick in the stomach. It's like, I don't even have enough money to survive this one. And now the building that I was living in, the owner sold it. And I explained the situation to him. I said, listen, I don't have ID. Where am I going to live? And then, he said, oh, well, they can use me as a reference, but still I don't have ID, so it's kind of hard. So I called around to as many friends as I could. My sister was getting wind of what was happening with me and was calling people saying, don't, she's a junkie, she's a prostitute, oh, she's this and that. A lot of people were pulling out going, oh, I'm sorry, I can't. And so it was even at the most desperate time. I even told her, like, you need to help me get my ID. This is silly. This needs to end. I'm going to end up being homeless. No, she was loving it. No.
I don't. Look, so I'm sorry, Tessa. I don't understand people who enjoy that tormenting other people, enjoying their misfortune. I don't understand. I done, quite studying about this Misery Loves Company, but the one thing I never understood that people enjoy. I remember my son, when he's diagnosed with epilepsy, I lost 99% of the friends. I started my business, Instant Intelligence, and I know that people, I was being told how much they enjoy seeing me with my son, in the hospital more than anything else, even than he publicized. But that was my kid. But this is your life, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's something different. I have an idea, I can apply for things, but you are not. How's your mental health? How did you feel emotionally?
Around that time as well, like just before the second COVID, my best friend at the time, Carolina, had killed herself. I just got a message that I turned up to work one day and everyone was just staring at me and they said, we're so sorry. And I said, what for? They said, Carolina died, didn't you hear? That's when I was like, no, you can't be right. I thought, first of all, my first thing was, what happened to her? Was it an accident? They said, no, she just didn't wake up. She was on so much. The two of us were on a lot of stuff. And, she just didn't wake up. They don't know if it's an overdose or she did it to herself. So I just thought, okay, I need to get off all these meds, seriously.
I mean, you talk about legal meds, right?
Yeah.
The doctor prescribed.
Antidepressants and tranquilizers I was on a lot at the time. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to go like that. I need to get off. And these meds are causing more problems than good. It was, I was unable to process grief with it. When I cried, my mind would go straight away to suicide. It would be like...
And that makes you hero in my eyes. You see, I hate people who says there's no light at the end of the tunnel. It is. Doesn't matter what we do in our life, you know what I mean? I don't understand that people don't want to fight another day. You did,
Yeah. But I felt those meds were just blocking me from processing the grief and crying because it was making me so numb.
Yeah.
And it was making not only me mentally but physically numb, that I was hurting myself physically more and more and more because my skin was becoming so numb. And I thought, I've got to get off this. I'm not going to live much longer if I'm on this stuff. And
how did you manage to do this?
Gradually, doctors were useless. I'm thinking, doctors, if you prescribe this stuff, at least learn the withdrawals, because most of them didn't know how to handle me going into withdrawals of it. They were kind of like, okay. And when I was coming off it, it was the Xanaxes. They were horrible. I thought I was going to die. But the worst didn't prepare me for is coming off the Zolofts. I
heard about them,
Yeah, I thought I was going crazy. I couldn't think my mind. It's like these old memories were coming back from years, 30 years. All of that were just flying back as if they're new. If I looked at a photo, the memories of that photo would come through. And I hadn't been thinking about these things for many, many years. So
I wish this podcast can last another 2 years, like what we're doing now, because it's so many colorful situations in your life. We can't even pack this into the interview. But must be, at that stage, you're on your own, right? Obviously, husband is gone a long time ago. You and your cat, you can't live in a place. What did you do with the place?
It was when I was coming off the time when I was coming off the Xanaxes. That's when my cat passed away. On top of that, and that was kind of very, very hard for me, especially coming off that. The pain was just intense, like I've never felt pain before. And that's the first time I really thought about, I've had suicide attempts in the past, but I'm thinking this was the time I really considered it, that maybe I just want to go, I want to be with her. I need to go be with the two of them. But then I thought, okay, I'm going to try and press on.
You want to take a break?
Oh, no, I'm good. No, I need to press on. I keep needing to move forward, and there was just a little thing in me that was trying to fight to. But then when it was the last person that said to me, sorry, your sister spoke to me, send me a bunch of screenshots of stuff that you've been sending, and you sound, like you said, basically, you sound crazy. And I was kind of rambling in these screenshots because I was coming down a lot of stuff, and I was in a panic mode, telling her, you need to help me, seriously. Oh, no, you're a junkie. Sorry, but you're a junkie. I'm not a junkie, I'm coming off stuff. And then she sent cops to my house. Like, I'm coming off, and then the cops are knocking on my door. And so I explained to the cops the situation. My lawyer friend Mike explained to them. He had the phone on. And he explained to them the situation, and the cop said, you've got to put a restraining order on her. She's blowing up our phone. And it was like that time I thought, okay, I've got nowhere to move into. My cat has died. I've got nothing. And, I think it was around that time I just also got my new cat as well that I was not bonding with at all. And I just felt that, okay, I'm going to be homeless with this new cat I just rescued this new cat and it's going to be back on the street. And I just think I am not cut out to be homeless. And that's when I really considered the suicide. I thought, this is it. And then that's when it's time to go tie that noose. And I already had a noose tied to my bed. That's the thing. And because I used to pull that noose, seeing how hard I could pull it and do it that way, but I could not have the guts over the past few days. So I did it by tying it to the side of the stairs. Yeah, so I put it on the stairs. I tied the noose. I got ready to jump. And then I just thought, okay, I remembered in the back of my head that you repent on the last, you can go to heaven. Like if someone's lived a bad life and they just repent on the last, they won't go to hell. So that flashed in my head. So I got down. I said, okay, Jesus, I deserve this. I was doing the wrong thing. I was mocking you so much. I was going up. I deserve what's happening to me. And instead of feeling judgment and feeling like, yep, you deserve it, it was like being held in like, oh, you're home. No, I'm here. I never left you. It was the feeling. And that's the thing. I've never felt that feeling before, ever in my life. Like someone was so happy to see me come back.
Tissues.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it just felt like the prodigal son when he was happy to see his son come back. It's like up until that moment, I was feeling like things were on a decline, but it was like instantly it turned around. Like someone had got me. I was not feeling the come down anymore. And then I just said, God, what am I going to do? I've got no future. And all I could feel was something saying, I've got you, you're going to be okay. So I just had this overwhelming feeling to open the Bible. I've got to read it. The answers are going to be in the Bible. It's all I felt inside of me. So I opened up the Bible. I see Mark at the top. So I called my friend Mark. Mark said, I've got a spare room. Relax, because I was crying to him over the phone. And Mark said, okay, I've got a spare room. Just pack up and get here and stop crying and you're going to be okay. So I thought, okay, maybe the answers are going to be in the Bible. And around that time also, my mum called as well because my sister, she heard through the grapevine what my sister was doing. My sister called up and said, oh, she's a prostitute. She's this and this and this. And she also, Mum said, I don't care if you write it in the sky. I don't care.
She's your mum.
Yeah. So Mum called me and just asked, is everything okay? I said, listen, I need my ID. I can't survive. That's all I need. My worth and everything is based on this little ID that I had to sell my body for years because of a little photo ID that's going to be my ticket out.
I don't understand. Look, I try to understand. Like, let me share something with you about that. I have experience with that in different ways, but two things I learned during that period. One thing is, like I always say, I said this in my book as well. I know that one thing was when man goes to die, before he dies, they calls the last words every man, he says mother. But one thing I know, the guys who lost their life before that, they say that they felt effortless that everything is okay. And I truly believe that Bible and your friend Mark, that you are here today, Tessa, for the reason. We can pack, like all these beautiful Tessa. I'm going to put in comment section below, you're going to see Tessa, what's it called, the socials. She looks beautiful, in her latex and everything else. And then I see the Tessa who achieving things she's been told she can't. The HSC, finding herself and everything else. You're here for today. That night, whatever that night was, and I want to say thank you to your friend Mark for extending the hand. You are here today to teach us the lesson of humility.
Yeah.
I guarantee you this. You are here to teach us humility. This is what the Bible says about Mary Magdalene. She was healed by Jesus from the 7 demons. She traveled on the road with Jesus' disciples. And I think that we are traveling with you for the reason. And even I'm traveling now with you. People know my life, but you are seriously next generation of the brave, courageous people. You are. So you moved with a Mark place, and what was the next thing with you then?
For me, the next thing, like after when I was talking to Mum said, okay, I want to hear from you. What are you doing for work? And I said, Mum, I'm a prostitute. And she goes, oh, okay, how do I get you out of this? And that's all I wanted to hear. How do I get you out of this?
I think that was all your life you're looking for this. That somebody says, how I can hold your hand and
I can help you. And this is what I say now when I'm on outreach with visiting these working girls at brothels. I said, is there anything I can do to help you? How can I help you? And sometimes they're feeling lost, or sometimes they just telling me about some certain problem that they're going through.
So how did you find the Jesus now? Come to the point where, okay, your Bible, your mom, did you feel relieved when you told your mom?
She took it better than I expected.
Okay.
Mum has
she loves you.
humor. Yeah. My mum is the queen of sarcastic humor as well.
Okay, that's a good thing. Yeah, in your case, okay.
So we were talking, like she said that my sister, I told her about, look, she's doing porn and the camera went right up her vagina, and my mum goes, yeah, she's got a nice vagina. What's your problem?
Oh my God, your sister, she's a really piece of art, man.
Yeah. So Mum just looked at it with humor. That's why I've taught through Mum to look at stuff with humor. It's only going to get you through. That's why a lot of stuff I laugh at in the past, because it's the only way you can deal with it. So Mum kind of helped me get my ID from there. It was a long process, especially being over COVID. Mum's over in Perth.
Perth, yeah.
So we got someone in between to kind of help us. I had my lawyer friend help me, and then she had a caseworker or something. That we did it that way.
You have your ID now?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
First thing I did was go and enroll into study.
So like transition from bashing people with the Bible. Okay, you're smiling now. I like your smile. I want to see you smile. To the person who's holding the Bible. It is.
It was a year I did nothing. I went from being super busy to dead, nothing. And then I was like, oh God, I don't like this. Please, I want to do something. Yeah. And that's because I even said to Mum, I'm starting from ground zero, and I don't have any friends. My friends in that industry I've left, and I moved to a place where I don't know anyone. And then Mum said, you're going to be super busy again. Just, take time to heal. So I was walking past a church. First I went to Hillsong Church. I was going to attend a church. It didn't really feel... Yeah, it was kind of, it was fun, but it wasn't really a family kind of environment. And then I walked past the church I'm at now, Echo. And that's when I heard them say over the speakers, you belong here. I'm thinking that has to be a sign.
Isn't the signs? You see the signs all the... That's what we're ignoring all the time. We're ignoring that fact that there's signs all over around us.
Yeah, they, like when I went there, straight away, had people coming up to me saying, hi, how are you, and how's it going? I never felt any judgment. Like there are maybe a couple in the church from the younger ones that do. But overall, it's been very, very supportive, and they know my story. They encourage me to go be on the kids' worship team and to work in kids' ministry, because I had worked with kids in the past. before all of this, I worked in childcare. My mum was a childcare worker and a teacher. So to be with kids again.
You deserve this, Tessa. I said to you, there's a difference between humiliation and humility. You're teaching us all humility. Everybody today who's listening to this podcast should reach and talk to you. I truly believe that, as I say, I was preparing myself for this interview. You can go and drill all this bullshit, about porn and BDSM. It's a part of life you left behind you.
Yeah.
Am I correct? Okay, so how do you help the girls in industry to get out of the industry? How do you go do this?
I believe that my entire life, because God uses everything that you've done, can turn every negative into a positive. Yeah. I believe my experience right down to leaving has been to show the girls. It's okay, you can leave there. When I left, this is how I really saw that my church was the real ones.
Okay.
And nothing like I grew up in. I got outed by the media.
The media?
Stupidly went, not stupidly now because it's all worked out well. I put photos of me worshipping, being a Sunday school teacher on Instagram. I thought it's been years, people have forgotten me now. Within a few days I was contacted.
Someone jealous, maybe your sister.
No, I think because my Instagram, I've got a lot of people on there, a lot of stuff. I rarely post, and suddenly gone from BDSM to Sunday school teacher.
Yes, that's an article in Daily Mail.
It was everywhere. It made worldwide news. I was. I got contacted by quite a few people in the media saying, "Are you a Sunday school teacher? Does your church know?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course they do." "Oh, did you used to dress up like a nun?" I'm saying, "Yeah, there's photos online. This is not who I am anymore." So I answered a few questions. And I thought that's going to be it. No one knows who I am. I was just this person in Sydney that worked in BDSM.
Yeah.
I remember the Sunday morning, I had a Sunday school class.
Hallelujah.
And my phone was going off. It was pinning like you wouldn't believe. And I'm thinking, wow, something is happening because must be mum.
Yeah.
Because mum's like that. So the church, I went to my phone. Yeah. I got so many people messaging me going, "Oh, are you okay?" And have you seen this? And even from overseas, people in overseas going, "In our newspaper." Yeah. It was an article. She used to whip men's asses, and now she's a Sunday school teacher. And I was just stuff about me hitting people with Bibles, and now she's a Sunday school teacher with Echo Church. And I'm like, I had to walk out of the room for a while and go to the toilets. And and one of the mothers in there was already in there of the kids. And I told her what happened. I showed her the story. She goes, "You're going to be okay. You're going to be fine." I went there, finished the day. And then I spoke to the pastor straight after. I ran up to her and I said, "Oh, no." I thought, okay, they're going to tell me to get off the worship team. And I showed her how it's made around the world news. And she goes, "It's okay. God's going to use it. Just relax. You're going to be fine. We're in the newspaper all the time for stuff we do." Yeah. And, that's when, I got a few hate mail from people. And I'm thinking, God, what have you done? I've done everything right by you. Now you're doing this to me. What have I done?
To test you.
And then I realized, hang on. When Mum called me, Mum said, "Listen, what's the worst thing that was ever going to happen to you? You got outed. Now what happened? You're still alive. Your church still supports you. You're still living." And that's when I realized that's the worst thing that these girls are scared of about leaving the industry, is being outed and people finding out about their past.
Look, there's as any industry, we all have the past in life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not as bad as.
Okay, but I don't talk about my past because I'll tell you something later. But the thing is, we all have the past. Doesn't matter how brutal it is, how big or small it is.
Yeah,
we all accepting. We all can accept some type of be reprimanded by society, right? Your one, it's big, right? But in hindsight, again, I'm saying this to you, Tessa. I truly believe that your unshaken faith in the God and society you are surrounding yourself, it's impeccable. And I truly believe that people should look at you high, because being in industry, porn, escort, BDSM, whatever those girls are doing, it's hard to leave. We all do some things in life because we chosen this, We chose as well. I chosen things. I always say to people, be careful what you wish, because I want to be soldier, become soldier. I want to war, go to war. I want to be spy, I become the spy. The thing is, and then when all this accumulated, you are crash and burn. I experienced this in 2009. You experienced it a little bit later. But today, you are the beacon of the hope. And I truly believe that human society needs the hope. And you're giving that, Tessa, to all these girls. Those girls, when you see them...
yeah, I did have girls that were approaching me just because of this article. And just saying it's inspirational to us. And a lot of them contacting, just saying if I was okay and just saying, I want to become a Christian. Like, I want to go to church, but I feel like people are going to judge me. And I did have a lot of girls messaging me from that there. And it kind of made me realize, okay, God, this is why you made me go through it.
But that's what it is. Look, there's no, when you see the disciples around the Jesus Christ, they're all, they are not all being exemplary, right? Some of them being thieves and, killers and everything else. We are all the product of our actions. But as I say, you caused a lot of happiness to people in your life. But now you are bringing something what most of people cannot bring, and that's the hope. People love talk about hope. People love preach about things. Today, in last hour, so we doing interview, you reminded me how life, it is beautiful, even because we have the bread or water, a roof above our head, or you're always going to look for something more. And I'm grateful that I know you. So you shouldn't be ashamed of nothing, because the fact that you come on a podcast to talk about your past, when everybody can judge you, and you say yeah, you can judge me, but I'm here to change the world. So what's the biggest obstacles you're facing now? So you're working as a nurse and...
studying to be a nurse.
Starting to be a nurse.
I'm just doing my placement now just for Nurses Aid, and then I'll be, at the end of the year, end of next year, I'll be going further into studies.
Okay. Needles are not unknown to you, so that with the needles, lubricants.
And gloves and everything else.
Look, I'm just laughing because, as I say, there's so much in you. So, and I say, to myself at the beginning, I will need help from Tessa to unpack all of this. What will be your message to any girl listening to you right now? Anybody, general message about, they experience the obstacles, judgment, being bullied, being put in a corner, reprimanded. What Tessa Williams has to say as a message, as to say, imagine yourself in a church and you're just reading out to the entire church.
What I would say is I would focus on my relationship with God before anyone else. That was the only thing, the only opinion that mattered, the only one that was going to be there for me when anyone left, the only one that's going to catch me, the only one that's going to sort out my problems. Because I focused on God and my relationship with God, what people say about me, some people say about me in the church, what some people, those hate messages I get sent, does not matter. Because what was important was my relationship with God and how God kind of guides me, leads me now. That's all that kind of matters, and I'm able to actually get through the stressful times because of God, because I've put it in His hands. And I know He's going to work it out.
One thing I'll share with you, which I don't share quite often in my podcast because, it's a different type of the conversations. But two things I know that people call the God. When shit happens, that God help me, right? And I tell you something, I wasn't miracle believer. It happened with my son, and when myself and his mother went as a surgery just before the COVID, the doctor says, look, chances are 50-50. We're going to remove the part of brain, but we don't know it's going to be cured, you know what I mean? And I said to myself, I was a coward. People know I was really coward. When the moment my son goes in surgery, I run out. His mother called me, where are you? I cried out. I was like a little girl. I said, God, you know what I mean, whatever. you can't make a deal now with the God. And it's like, I don't deserve this, you know what I mean? It's the same as you did. So you reminded me how miserable prick I was, right? Matteo, my son, he's now healthy. He studied medicine. He reminds me of you. He's been bullied. He's been told things, you know, he never gonna achieve, never nothing. Doesn't matter, Tessa. Today, you're Tessa Williams.
Yeah.
Contessa Doll, he lives in dreams, imagination, somewhere on the internet. Let it be it. You know what I mean? People have the past. But you, one thing you can do, you can sleep peacefully because everybody knows. You don't need to be afraid.
Yes.
Did they go and discover, oh, there's a Contessa Doll with proper glove like this, like.
Yeah. And I think it shows a lot of other girls that even though I got outed in the worst possible way, it's every worker's nightmare to be outed that way, I'm still here. I'm still thriving. I'm still happy. Like, it wasn't the end of the world for me. Go tell them, so what if you get outed, if you've got an ex-boyfriend that has photos on you and knows about your escorting, so what? Leave. Leave if you want to leave that world. Don't let anyone keep you there because you're afraid of being outed.
You're a very, very brave woman, Tessa. It was a true honor to have you today on the podcast. I'm going to, guys, put in the comment section below Tessa Instagram, particularly all these ladies and women who are looking to get out of the industry. He is the godmother of courage, literally here in front of me, who's going to help. Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What's the oldest woman you know that does
BDSM?
BDSM or the...
Oh, that's
as a
the
dom,
infamous, famous Madame Lash, who's in her 80s.
She's still doing?
I'm not sure if she's, but she's iconic Australian woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the name? Dom Lash.
Madame Lash.
Madame Lash.
That's the thing with BDSM. You can be as old as possible. The older you are, the more they're going to want you.
Are you serious now?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I thought I was going to be there forever. My good years still didn't come because I was the older women that are the ones that are more respected and popular.
Yeah. Tessa, it was a true pleasure to have you today as my guest.
Thank
I really appreciate that you took an effort to come, from Sydney CBD to here today and talk about those things. And I want to say thank you to your friend Mark again. Thank you to your Echo Church and everybody who assists you to make this world a better place. Thank you for being my guest today.
Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome.